I, 27 male, graduated from college 5 years ago and I live with my girlfriend in the Pacific Northwest. It is fairly expensive here, but we both make a decent living and have a pretty good standard of living. Last weekend we went to visit with my family. It was good to see my folks and my maternal grandparents, but I found out that my parents had been telling everyone in Nevada that I live by myself and that I'm dating someone from their faith. My girlfriend is definitely not. Anyways, I really don't care. It doesn't hurt me if they want to lie. Except some of my cousins started talking to us and we didn't lie. We told them we lived together and we were not married. My parents said they were very displeased that my lifestyle isn't how they raised me. I've been dealing with this for nearly a decade now, so I told them I would live by their rules as long as they were paying my bills. So I laid out my monthly budget and asked them when I could expect them to pony up. They said I was being disrespectful and didn't have to embarrass them in front of the family by doing the my house, my rules thing like they did when I depended on them to finance my life. So, am I the idiot for telling my parents they had to start paying my bills? Not the idiot. In fact, your response was pretty damn funny. OP, you're 27, employed and living states away from your parents. You can do whatever you want and they don't have to like it. Your parents still need to catch up with new reality. Sucks for them. Sounds like this was your declaration of independence. You weren't serious about them paying your bills. You were making the point that you're a self-supporting adult and they aren't in charge of you anymore. At age 27, it's about time they accepted that. Also, they might be better representatives of their faith if they stop lying about you. Also, a perfect clapback. Bravo, OP. Yep, it's hoisting them with their own petard. I'm not surprised at all that they are the type who said to him, "So long as you live in my house, you'll live by my rules," even after he turned 18. And held over him all the sacrifices they made and how they fed and clothed him, etc., blah blah blah. So yes, this is a fantastic way to get someone to shut up about your life. Want me to live like you? Alright, pay for it. It's a bit sad that OP appears to have some guilt in regards to this, that they don't quite get that they have given their parents too much power for far too long. You have to set boundaries with your parents as you age. By age 27, those boundaries should be crystal clear. After all, by that time you can't be on their insurance anymore. But out of curiosity, what would you have done if they agreed? It would be pretty awkward if they called my bluff. My girlfriend by herself makes more than my parents combined and I make more than her. I'll just say that they cannot afford my mortgage and car note, much less everything else. My brother-in-law is 32, my wife and I are 25, and while I don't doubt that some of his issues are real, autism, ADHD, set-point obesity, it's my distinct impression that he exploits people's perception of these things to be a controlling idiot. In the family, saying such things is completely forbidden, however. We offered to take my mother-in-law and father-in-law out for dinner, so no one had to cook. The timing offered was strategic since we knew brother-in-law had planned on watching TikTok livestream of some 19-year-old influencer who's blowing up right now, but I guess either he got the time wrong or she cancelled early, so my heart sank when he was coming along because I knew there was going to be drama. We went to a place famous for bar food, and I ordered nachos. My wife begged me to order something else, but she wasn't direct with me about the problem, and I didn't get her hints. As soon as I took my first bite of nachos, my brother-in-law started shrieking like a child and throwing a little tantrum that her crunch was killing him and he's going to lose it because black olives don't belong on nachos because they're from Spain, not Mexico. My wife, mother-in-law and father-in-law told me I really screwed up and was making him uncomfortable. In a moment of pure honesty, I told them that the list of not allowed around Brian is so long and damn ridiculous that I can't keep up. My wife said she tried to tell me. I said, "No, you didn't tell me. You hinted around it like we do every time this creep ruins a family function." So brother-in-law, father-in-law and mother-in-law got up and left, leaving us with the bill, and needless to say, things between my wife and me have been tense ever since, and we haven't really spoken. I am the absolute idiot for my choice of words after he freaked out, and I get that, but I also think things needed to be said. But my question is, am I the idiot for ordering the nachos? My wife says I should have known, since she's sure she's told me, and I had to have noticed that they never have chips around because his misophonia can't handle the crunch. Am I the idiot here? I can't believe your in-laws are jalapeno grilled about some cheesy chip goodness. You are not the idiot. No one can let their problems move to other people. If brother-in-law cannot cope, he must remove himself from those situations. What would he have done if the people at the table beside him ordered the nachos? LOL, when he was in his vegan phase, which lasted all of a week, he threw water on a lady who was eating a hamburger next to them at Reed Park. I won't lie, if I minded my own business and some random person came up to me and threw water over me, ruining my food, I would be very unhappy to say the least for them ruining my damn burger. However, OP, don't tell him that pasta is from China and tomatoes are from the Americas, so all Italian food is wrong. Levity aside, the guy needs therapy. Yeah, that's not how autism works. If you have sensory issues related to the sound of the crunch, there's this magical thing known as headphones. Autism isn't a personality disorder. It's a neurodevelopmental disorder. Sounds like he has an I suffer and everyone else must suffer too mindset. A real peach. You are not the idiot, and a 32-year-old obsessing over watching a 19-year-old seems a little... I feel you're screwed even if you're not wrong. The family you married into is bonkers, and that won't stop. Your wife in their camp too. Also, what's the plan when her parents die? Are you expected to step up and take care of brother-in-law? I'm very afraid you will be on the hook for him, and your wife will just shrug her shoulders, claim you misinterpreted, and play the "it's family" card to guilt you into letting brother-in-law move in. I'm 5 months pregnant, and I told my family a few weeks ago. My sister wasn't happy for me and told me she was concerned about my geriatric pregnancy. I told her I was under 40 and it wasn't a geriatric pregnancy, and that I didn't need her concern because my OBG and I had it covered. She still wasn't happy for me, but it is what it is. At dinner, she again referred to my pregnancy as geriatric when talking to the family, and I again corrected her. She said, "Sorry, but if you're over 35, it's geriatric." Other people weighed in, mostly disagreeing with her. She pulled up an article on her phone saying 35 and over is a geriatric pregnancy. My aunt laughed and said that that's idiotic. She said at this rate everyone would be either too young or too old to have children since 20s are too young and 30s are too old. My sister said she's using the scientifically accurate term, and it isn't her fault if it upsets me. I said, "Well, you can screw off with your scientifically accurate term because we all know you're just trying to make me feel bad." Someone changed the topic, but she didn't talk to me the rest of that Sunday. The next couple of days, she sent me several links to articles about geriatric pregnancies, so I blocked her. My mom called me this morning and asked if I blocked my sister. I said I did temporarily because she was spamming me. My mom said, "Grow up and make nice with your sister. What you did using profanity on a holy day was just as bad. You're going to be a mother, act like one." Was I the idiot, and do I owe my sister an apology? Not the idiot. How are you the immature one here? Your sister keeps pushing this in your face, all but screaming, "I'm right, I'm right, I'm right." She brings it up once, okay, fine. But you made it clear that you didn't like using that term, and she just kept going and going and going, even harassing you with multiple articles. And to what end? To prove that the terminology is correct? Who cares? As long as you and the baby are healthy, that's what matters. It's wild to me that this is the hill your sister is willing to die on. I asked my husband, paediatrician, and my aunt, OBG, and they said that geriatric pregnancy is not in any shape, way or form a scientifically accurate term. That's just the term used to describe pregnancy for women aged 35 and older, and it can and has been changed in recent years to pregnancy at an advanced maternal age. They say that the term has long been considered outdated and is a callback to a time when having children in your 30s was not the norm. Society's changed, women have children later in life, and despite the difficulties and risks of getting pregnant at an advanced maternal age, there is no way that the term geriatric is an accurate way to describe women having children past age 35, especially since the median age for first-time mothers in most places is 30 if I recall correctly. Don't apologise. Ask her instead to examine why she's so fixated on being unhappy for you. Geriatric pregnancy is technically accurate in the same way mental retardation or hysteria is an accurate description of neurologic and social function. This is why it irks me when people fall back to, "but it's technically correct," when referring to anything related to terminology, because all terminology is a social construct and rooted in the culture of its time. If your sister wants to talk, give her a history of medical terminology, and if she doesn't want to hear it, tell her to eat glass. And why is the blocking only temporary? Make it permanent, or at least until she apologises. I, 29 female, started working at a new company 8 months ago. I was headhunted specifically for my role, which gave me enough power to negotiate my contract as I wanted. One of the things I managed to get was a clause that prohibited my employer from contacting me outside work hours. However, if it was a true emergency, then they can send me an email. Otherwise, they can't even send me a text. Furthermore, I have a separate work phone that I shut down at 5 on the dot, then turn on at 9 a.m. Another thing is that I don't work overtime. I'm very efficient, so my work is done by 3 p.m, 5 p.m. if we have an emergency. I also take my whole lunch break outside the office and my coffee breaks away from my desk. My co-workers are different. They tend to socialise during work hours and have work left for afterward. They sometimes ask me to help, but I always decline by saying that I have plans. I won't go into details, I will just say that I have plans. These plans, 99% of the time, just include going home, reading books or sleeping, but that's my personal time. Monday, a co-worker asked if I could stay a bit later to help her out. Apparently she was late with some essential work, but had to be done by that night because she had to attend her daughter's recital at 6. I said that I was sorry, but that I had plans. It was a nice day, so instead of going home, I just went to the park to read while breathing some fresh air. I brought some fruit and bubble tea and made a picnic out of it. My co-worker found me there and she was angry. She said that I could have helped her if I didn't have plans. I said that I did have plans, this impromptu picnic. She said that it wasn't as important as her daughter's recital, so I said that for me it was even more important than her daughter's recital. She called me an idiot and some of my friends agreed. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. However, one day you might need help and your co-workers will remember how inflexible you were. You obviously have every right to reject helping out your co-workers, but just remember that when you inevitably need help, everyone else has plans. There are consequences to the work lifestyle you detailed. As long as you're okay with that, Godspeed. This is one of those, technically you're not an idiot, but you're basically asking for everyone to hate you situations. Yep, it's great that you're so efficient and ruthless about enforcing boundaries regarding your work. I can totally respect that. Would I want you as a co-worker though? On the one hand, it will teach her not to rely on anyone but herself. On the other hand, that kind of behaviour doesn't exactly foster a strong team. I guess you'd know whether it will matter in the long run. OP, your picnic is not time sensitive. Her child's recital is. You don't owe her your time or work, but you also didn't have to be an idiot about it either. My eating fruit in the park is more important than your daughter's recital. No, it's not. You care about it more. Also, slightly pedantic, but if the picnic was impromptu, you didn't have plans. That's literally what impromptu means, unplanned. Who will help you when you've shown you don't care about anyone but yourself? I, 34 female, live upstairs in a duplex with my 2 boxer piddy mixes. I've lived here for 5 years with my ex who recently moved out. Last year my neighbours, 31 female, 32 male, moved in downstairs after the unit had been empty for a while. They were good neighbours until this year when they had a baby. Apparently they had to go through IVF and a bunch of miscarriages. She posted all about it on Facebook. I thought that was TMI, but whatever. I'm only her Facebook friend because she added me. She's made a big deal about being pregnant and it's been annoying to see, but I just ignored her. Anyway, since she's had the baby, I've had to deal with the crying from downstairs. It's not as bad as I expected, but it is still really annoying. I've gone down and knocked on their door a couple of times to tell them to keep the noise down. Every time they apologise and blame their baby, but nothing has changed. I got fed up and reported them to our landlord for making too much noise. The landlord talked to my neighbours, who are now turning it around on me, saying my dogs are too loud and I play music at night that wakes their baby up. My dogs aren't loud and hardly bark when I'm at home. I got annoyed and went down to talk to my neighbour about it, and she got really nasty with me and blamed my dogs and me for always waking up her baby. They said they could hear every one of mine and my dog's footsteps and the dog's nails on the floor specifically, that my dogs bark the whole time I'm not home during the day, and that I put my music up too loud at night. I told her I couldn't make my dogs not bark when I was out, that they're dogs on hardwood floors, and that I didn't know what she expected living in a downstairs unit. I also told her I could have people over and my music on whenever I wanted in my home. I don't think it's fair to ask me to change my life when I'm not the one who had a baby. My neighbour got an attitude and told me she was only asking for me to be respectful of our shared space, and brought up hearing my argument with my ex a few weeks ago. I admit it was a little loud, but it wasn't that big of a deal. I laughed and told her that pretty much went out of the window when she had a baby, but she shut the door in my face. I reported the whole conversation to my landlord, so there's a record of my complaints because I want them and that baby out of here. When I was telling a friend about what was happening, she told me I was being a major idiot to struggling new parents, but I think that's their problem and not mine. but I wanted to get unbiased feedback because that friend is usually a little over-emotional for my taste. OP, you are the idiot. Do you think people should put up with your noise, dogs' nails on hardwood, dogs barking, music, arguments, but you expect silence from your neighbours? What is funny is that she was actually fine with all of your noise, much of which can be controlled, until you complained about a crying baby, which cannot be controlled. Hire a dog walker, invest in thunder shirts, invest in rugs, and turn your damn music down, unless you live someplace very old or cheaply built. If they can easily hear your music, it's too damn loud. Oh, a baby is doing what babies do, cry. Get real, OP. It's not like their baby can simply tell their parents what's wrong and what they need. You, on the other hand, are fully in control of the noise level of what comes from your apartment. P.S. Don't assume your crappy complaints won't get you evicted. Yeah, OP is probably a lazy dog owner who doesn't give them enough exercise and crams them in a tiny, boring apartment all day. They should also be walked twice a day, so a dog walker is an excellent idea. You are the kind of person who wants to remain child-free. Totally okay. You don't like kids. I get it. But as someone in an apartment, you also want to impose your way of life on your neighbours. You cannot control the actions of other people. They had a baby. Babies cry. I think almost everyone has told you this at this point. Simple solution, move out into your own house. Better yet, buy a house with a couple of acres. I promise you'll never be bothered by babies crying again. Stop thinking the world revolves around you and your lifestyle. It doesn't. Either put up, shut up, or move out, because you are not the princess and not the main character, even if you think you are. In case you haven't gotten it by now, you are one of the biggest, most entitled idiots I have seen.